Hey everyone, welcome to round one. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a problem with my audio on the recordings, so unfortunately I'm going to have to do these replays for rounds 1, 2, and 3. It was the same issue that I had on some previous videos, but it lasted a lot longer. In this game, in this match in particular, the audio is bad for about 20 minutes of the video, and that really just wasn't acceptable to me, so fortunately we're going to have these replays. So we started off round one against Bad Air, and he went down to 6 cards, and we were on the play, kept this hand, looks pretty good. Just a reminder, this is my first time going through one of these replays, so hopefully I'm going to be able to keep up with it for you guys. It goes a little fast, so hopefully I can keep up with it. So we're going to start with our Windscarred Crag, and we're just going to pass the turn. Our opponent plays a blue-black land, or a blue-red land, I mean. We're going to play our second land, and then I decided to go with the Ichor Wellspring rather than using any of the guys that need to pick up lands. Drew a Thraben Inspector for the turn. I was considering playing that, but I didn't really want to fall behind on our card draw stuff, so we drew a land, which is fortunate, and decided to toss out a Glinthawk, pick up the Ichor Wellspring, play our tapped land, and play a Thraben Inspector. The reason I did this is it puts 3 power on the board. It's possible I should have played the Kuldotha Rebirth, but I decided to go with this plan. Our opponent has maps, so of course they have turn 4 Tron. So we attack. And then I run out the Ichor Wellspring, hoping to draw land, which we do not. We draw another bad card. The first journey is not very good, and neither is the second one. This is a pretty easy Kuldotha Rebirth play here. So right now we're just hoping that they don't have an Electrickery, that we can get in some damage. They're going to grab their Tron piece. So they play Seagate Oracle, and then another map, and they crack it, and they Flame Slash. So I decided I have to get through the Seagate Oracle. Decided to pick up the Ancient Den because I'm going to miss a land drop this turn. To get through the Seagate Oracle, we bolt it, and then we just attack. Finish off the turn, play a Core Skyfisher. I think I pick up the Thraben Inspector. Or no, I pick up the land. So I decided that I really need to get a lot of pressure in here. So go ahead and pick up the land so we don't slow down our creatures at all. Unfortunately, they have the Rolling Thunder, and they kill almost all of our guys. We draw a Thraben Inspector, and crack the clue, play the Thraben Inspector, draw land and attack. They play out a Prophetic Prism, a map. So at this point I'm pretty confident that we are going to lose, but I don't know for sure. So this is the next decision point. I drew that Battle Screech with 4 mana, and I have to decide if I want to flash it back. It's a tough call because if they have another Rolling Thunder, it doesn't really matter either way. I'm never going to be able to flash this back. But if they just have Electrickery, it would definitely be possible for me to get another white creature to flash this back. So I decided that I'm far enough behind that I'm just going to flash it back. Attack for 1. So our opponent has nothing there. Another thing that factored into my decision that turn that you can't see on the replay, but my opponent had F6 through the first Battle Screech. So on the flashback, I knew they didn't have a Counterspell, an Electrickery, or Mystical Teachings, because if they had any of those things, they would not have F6'd. So that's one of those things I remind you guys of. You kind of tell your opponent a lot if you F6 sometimes, and you don't want to do that in this matchup. So they had a Pulse of Murasa they used to get back the Seagate Oracle that we had killed. They play it. Alright, and they play a Muldrifter and a land. So go ahead and kill the Muldrifter, play the Ichor Wellspring, and Kuldotha Rebirth is a pretty good draw. I decide not to blast the Seagate Oracle and instead just attack with everything, because I want to play this Kuldotha Rebirth. So now we made ourselves pretty vulnerable again to Electrickery, but I was pretty confident they didn't have it that turn. I'm just hoping they don't have it now. And as it turns out, they didn't draw an Electrickery, but they did draw a Rolling Thunder, so they killed everything. At this point, I'm pretty confident that we're going to lose, unless we draw just a lot of Galvanic Blasts in a row. Or if I draw, like if I happen to draw a Rally and they just have nothing at all, but they don't have nothing, they have a lot of cards. So they play a Muldrifter. One Muldrifter is fine, but anything more is going to be too much for us probably. So I saw there they dumped a Mystical Teachings into the graveyard, so they have access to that. But they grabbed a Mnemonic Wall to pick up the Rolling Thunder, and we die the next turn, so it doesn't really matter what we do here. I've got Journey to Nowhere, I kill some of their stuff, they block, and then they just Rolling Thunder us to death. They just have enough mana to kill us, so that's that game. So, spoiler alert right here, you're about to see the fact that there's 3 games on the replay, so we do end up managing to pull off this game. Sorry for the spoilers, but I'm not really very good at video editing, so it's kind of hard for me to figure out how to do that. So, so check out what's left of our sideboard. So, I boarded out 1 Battle Screech, both Journeys. I didn't see an Ulamog's Crusher. I was hoping they would draw an Ulamog's Crusher in the first game, but they never did. So I got rid of my 2 Journeys. I have the Firebolts and 2 Lightning Bolts that I took out. They're just not very good. And I took out a Battle Screech just because they have so much mass removal. I don't want such an expensive card. I want to be able to kill them quickly. So that was what I decided. The Battle Screech is the toughest cut. It's possible I should keep the Battle Screech, cut another bolt or something. And then the other option I was thinking of is Ancient Grudge. I don't usually like it against this deck, but when you're on the play, sometimes you can snipe their Expedition map, and Lightning Bolt's just not a very good card in the matchup, so it's possible I should have played this Ancient Grudge, but I didn't. And so the cards I brought in, the 3 Molten Rains, and I brought in the 3 Pyroblasts, and took out these 3 and these 3. So we're on the play, and we keep a pretty good hand. I've got all my colors. I've got Raven Inspector, and I can pick that up with a Core Skyfisher. Glinthawk can pick up either a land or the Clue, depending on what happens. Pyroblast ends up being a pretty great draw. So we get in there with our Raven Inspector, and then I think I play a Core Skyfisher and pick up this Inspector. So I had the option here of playing this Great Furnace and holding up Pyroblast for a possible Condescend or a Seagate Oracle on their turn. I decided to just play the Core Skyfisher here because I really wanted to get this Windscarred Crag into play this turn. It's possible this was a mistake, but if I don't have this Windscarred Crag into play, I'm about to pick up a Thraben Inspector. So I'm going to have Thraben Inspector, Glinthawk, and Skyfisher all in my hand, but only 1 white mana if I play the Great Furnace this turn, so I decide that this is worth it to run something into a possible Condescend, especially since in the first game I didn't see any Condescends. They put both of them to the bottom. We can't get maximum punished here for our play. They play Condescend and Seagate Oracle all at once. Give him the old bluff attack, he calls it. Okay, so we pick him up, and then play Glinthawk and pick up the Clue. So the Thraben Inspector can't get through anyway, so I'm not too worried about getting it down. Our opponent has Natural Tron, of course. They run out of Muldrifter that right into our Pyroblast though, so that was perfect for us. So we get in for 4. So we are in a kind of a bad spot if our opponent has a Red Source and a Rolling Thunder, but that's so hard for us to play around that it's not really worth it. Plus, I haven't seen the Red Source yet. And unfortunately, they top decked a Signet because last turn they left open some colorless mana. So I knew they didn't have one of these. I didn't have the Signet. I didn't expect the Signet at all, but I knew they didn't have a Prophetic Prism in hand. So unfortunately they top decked that, But we do get one more turn without a Rolling Thunder, and they use a burn spell on one of our creatures, so I'm kind of suspecting they don't necessarily have a Rolling Thunder at this point. So run out the Inspector, crack the Clue, get in for 4, I believe. I play this Core Skyfisher and pick up the Thraben Inspector again. This was an interesting choice. It's possible I should have sandbagged that Core Skyfisher, because if they have a Rolling Thunder, I'm in big trouble, but I didn't think they had one. So they didn't play it there, so I don't think they have one even now. So play the Ichor Wellspring, see what we get. Another Ichor Wellspring, play that one. Draw the Battle Screech right after we don't have enough mana to cast it anymore. Alright, our opponent's down to 8, and we've got our Galvanic Blast. Our opponent condescends. I decide not to Galvanic Blast even though they're tapped out of blue, because I don't know for sure if I'm going to want to hit their face with a Galvanic Blast. So unfortunately that Condescend, let's see what they did with it. They put a card on top and top, so at this point I'm pretty worried. I'm confident that the first card they're drawing is a Rolling Thunder, but what I don't know is what that second card is. So we draw pretty well. So Thraben Inspector is a great draw, because that means we can play and flashback these birds. So my guess is their second one is some kind of card advantage spell, or another Rolling Thunder. And it turns out it's a Mnemonic Wall, so they get to get back their Rolling Thunder, and they also have an Electricity in their hand already. So we're at the point where we really need to draw a burn spell, and they have one unknown card. I know they have a Rolling Thunder, but they have one unknown card. We draw Molten Rain, which is a great draw. And I have a Thraben Inspector. I try to bait out a counterspell with the Thraben Inspector. Doesn't work. I decided to Molten Rain here. Unfortunately we can't. The problem with playing the Thraben Inspector first is this meant I couldn't play around Condescend anymore. So it's possible that was a mistake, because I could have cast the Molten Rain through Condescend. Turns out they didn't have Condescend, they had Teachings, and they grabbed a Pulse of Murasa for some reason. I mean, I know they want to get back their Urza's Mine, but they don't have green mana, so I don't know if that was just a mistake, they didn't know they didn't have green mana, or what. So I cracked the Clue, and they do nothing on their turn. So I know they have the Rolling Thunder, they have one mystery card, and they have a Pulse of Murasa. I kind of make a mistake here, and I kind of I forget to put a stop in their upkeep, so I'm planning to double Galvanic Blast them in their upkeep, but I click through it. So when I missed that already, I decide to just not cast it yet. And we get pretty lucky and draw a bolt anyway. So now I get to stop in their upkeep, and I double Galvanic Blast them, and they have nothing. So would have worked the turn before. It was a bit of a misclick. Definitely wanted to do it in their upkeep. Like if they draw green mana and they don't cast their pulse, that means I can't cast my burn spells. So that's pretty sloppy, but we got there. So let's move on to game 3. So we're on the draw, and we mulligan a hand that had like one land in it, so it was pretty bad. This hand's also pretty bad, but it has a lot of potential. I'd scry this to the top. It's a bit of a shame because we don't have any pressure, so this Molten Rain isn't very good. And so after I saw that Izzet Signet last game, I was considering bringing in the Ancient Grudge. I decided to leave it in the sideboard, but during sideboarding I told you guys in the original recording that I would have taken out a Lightning Bolt for it. So keep that in mind. If anytime I draw a Lightning Bolt, there's a 50% chance it would have been an Ancient Grudge. And we can see how it would have played out if I had had that. So just run out a Prophetic Prism. Get my Thraben Inspector. I decide not to Molten Rain here, because not because they're holding up counter magic, but because they can, none of these lands matter. Like, they have the map so they can get another blue source if they want it, and I really didn't want to run my Molten Rain into Condescend. So I played out the Thraben Inspector after an untapped land, so they couldn't condescend the Thraben Inspector, and then I let them counter this if they want. They decided not to, and even more strange, they decided not to crack their map. So it becomes obvious to me that they are trying to draw their second Tron piece and then use the map to get the third. What's strange to me here is they still don't crack it on their turn, and they miss their fourth land drop. So I draw for my turn, and we attack. So now I've really got them on Condescend. Like, I'm so sure they have it, because why else would you ever do this? Why wouldn't you go grab another Tron piece? So I crack the clue, since I'm so sure they have Condescend. Actually, I think I play the Ichor Wellspring around Condescend. Yep. And I draw another one, and I just fire it off, I think. Nope, I don't want to give them a target for Condescend. They draw another Power Plant, and I crack the clue end of turn. Alright, and I draw yet another Ichor Wellspring. So we're kind of spinning our wheels. It's turn 5 and we have 1 power on the board, and we haven't done anything. So first I fire off this Kuldotha Rebirth. I do have mana to pay for Condescend if they have it. So this turn, it's possible I should be playing this Core Skyfisher, since they, since like an Electricity will take my creatures out, and I still won't have much of a clock, but I'm still scared of the Condescend, so I play the Ichor Wellspring instead. That's an interesting decision point, because as it turns out, they do have the Electricity, and they couldn't cast both Electricity and Condescend. So they draw the Izzet Signet, and I believe I'm about to draw the Lightning Bolt here, which would have been able to cut them off of some colors. Alright, so here's the Lightning Bolt. So this could have maybe been an Ancient Grudge. It wouldn't have been amazing here, but firing it off on the Izzet Signet would be pretty decent. So here I go, attacking. So it's turn 6, and we've dealt them 2 damage, so it's not looking good so far. Get another Kuldotha Rebirth. I'm still convinced they're on Condescend, but I can play this Skyfisher around Condescend. So I do that. And I play Ichor Wellspring because I don't care if it gets Condescended. They have a second Electricity for our second Kuldotha Rebirth. They get a Prism and another map. So right here, they grab a tower, and then they play it. So this is where, right now, if this Lightning Bolt were an Ancient Grudge, it would be amazing. Because I'd be able to take out their map and their Signet right now. And I would be able to Molten Rain this tower. So as it turns out, the Ancient Grudge would have been absolutely insane. They would have been so far behind. So I play out the Battle Screech, and this is a decision point here. It's just like the first game, where I have 2 white creatures, so if they just have another Electricity, I'm still likely to be able to get a 3rd white creature to flash this Battle Screech back. And a Rolling Thunder can only hit me for a couple damage. Right now it's only 3 if they don't hit another land. So I decided to flash back the Battle Screech because I've already played 2 Electricities, and I really want to force them to have another one. Alright, so we just get in for 2. They Pulse Murasa, get back their tower, and unfortunately they just have another Electricity, which for some reason they played on their own turn. And then they Flame Slash our Skyfisher, so they probably should not have cast the Electricity on their turn, because as it turns out, I draw a Rally, which I would have definitely cast, like almost for sure would have cast, I think. So it would have been a ton of extra damage if we had the 4 tokens. So I don't know, maybe they're like afraid of Prismatic Strands or something, they wanted to fire it off on their turn, but there's nothing really that Kuldotha Boros normally plays. So unfortunately they were able to save their map, and they get to Tron here. We're hoping they play a Muldrifter. right into a Pyroblast. They don't, so they have a Teachings. I decided not to Pyroblast the Teachings because they have enough mana to flash it back, so they can just get back the other part. They get a Moment's Peace, which is going to make it really hard for us to actually ever win. You can see here how bad Rally the Peasants is. It's possible I should board that out, but it's really the best way for us to win is an early Kuldotha Rebirth and then like a Rally the Peasants on turn 3 or on turn 4 while they're still trying to set up their mana. But at this point it's pretty much a dead card. We're just attacking for 1 every turn, and I do counter this flashback on the Mystical Teachings because I don't want them to just get another Teachings with it. They draw a map, get another tower, kind of do nothing for a couple turns. So one thing I commented on earlier was the flashback on the Battle Screech. So at this point we still would never have been able to flash it back yet. I only have 1 white creature at this point, still at this point in the game. Their opponent draws a Forbidden Alchemy, puts a Condescend in the graveyard, so I know they draw something pretty decent. They play this Rolling Thunder, which I think is a bad play unless they have a second one. And even if they have a second one, I know they have a Moment's Peace in hand. And even if they have a second Rolling Thunder, they don't have enough mana to kill us unless they draw mana. So I don't think this is a very good play when they make it. But it makes me assume that they have a Rolling Thunder for sure. The reason I don't like it is they're tapping out, and they have a Forbidden Alchemy in their graveyard that they could flash back. If I drew a Molten Rain here, I could take them off Tron. And they have no way to get it back at this point. Like, that wouldn't be that unrealistic for me to have. But I didn't draw that. They did draw land. They drew another mine, so even if I had drawn a Molten Rain, you know they were going to top deck the Tron piece again. And they kill me with a second Rolling Thunder. So, get pretty brutalized there, unfortunately, at the end. I Galvanic Blast them a couple times and bolt them in order to just show them who's boss, but we get taken down in this one. So, the comment that I made about this is that Tron is the worst matchup by far for Kuldotha Boros. It's terrible. I mean, I would say that you're maybe, I don't know, 20-30% to win. The matchup's just awful. You get pretty lucky, and you can see we got him down to 6, but 6 is still pretty far away from being dead. Like, that's after I hit him with 11 points of burn spells on the last turn of the game. We just weren't very close at all to winning. So with that, let's move on to round 2.